the bathroom and then he just left me. So I was like left alone on the street.
At just 33 years old, Mary Magdalene's story came to a heartbreaking end. Millions of people knew her as the influencer with the world's most extreme body transformations. Her tattooed eyeballs, countless surgeries, and shocking appearance made headlines across the internet. But behind every viral photo was a woman fighting battles almost no one could see. She wasn't just chasing beauty. She was searching for acceptance, peace, and a way to escape the pain she had carried since childhood. As her fame grew, so did the pressure. Every surgery pushed her closer to the edge, until one tragic day everything came crashing down. Was she simply addicted to changing her appearance, or was there a much deeper story hidden behind the headlines? The answer is far more heartbreaking than most people ever realized, and by the end of this documentary, you'll understand why. Before she became Mary Magdalene, long before millions of people knew her as Mary Magdalene, she was simply a young girl trying to find where she belonged. The internet would later remember her for shocking headlines, extreme body changes, and endless plastic surgeries. But that wasn't where her story began. It began inside a quiet home where strict rules shaped almost every part of her childhood. From the outside, everything looked normal, but behind closed doors, life felt very different. Growing up in Canada, Mary was raised in a deeply religious family. According to her own public statements, many everyday things other children enjoyed were not allowed in her home. Even cartoons and Disney movies were off limits because her parents believed they could lead children down the wrong path. For some children, strict rules create discipline. For others, they create distance. As Mary grew older, that distance slowly turned into loneliness. She often felt like nobody truly understood what was happening inside her mind. While other teenagers were discovering who they wanted to become, Mary felt trapped between expectations and her own emotions. She wanted freedom, she wanted acceptance, and most of all, she wanted someone to understand her. But that feeling never seemed to come. By the age of 12, her life had already started changing. Instead of finding healthy ways to escape the pressure, she later said she turned to alcohol and illegal drugs while she was still very young. Looking back, she described those years as some of the darkest of her life. School became less important, and rules became something she wanted to break. The more people tried to control her, the more she pushed back. What looked like rebellion on the outside may have been something much deeper. Sometimes people don't act out because they enjoy making bad choices. Sometimes they are simply trying to escape pain that nobody else can see. As the years passed, Mary's life became even more complicated. She eventually left home while she was still very young, and without a strong support system, she had to survive on her own. She later worked as a dancer and eventually entered escort work to support herself. Years later, she spoke openly about how emotionally difficult that period had been. Money helped her survive, but it didn't heal the emptiness she carried inside. Every day became another search for validation, another search for confidence, another search for happiness. Yet nothing seemed to last. Over time, Mary slowly began connecting her value to the way she looked. She started believing that beauty could change everything. Maybe people would finally accept her. Maybe she would finally feel confident. Maybe she could leave her painful past behind. That belief would change the rest of her life. When she was around 21 years old, she made a decision that seemed small at first. She wanted breast augmentation. To many people, cosmetic surgery is simply a personal choice. But for Mary, it became something much bigger. She didn't just want to change her body, she wanted to change the person she saw in the mirror. Unfortunately, things did not go as planned. According to publicly reported accounts and her own interviews, she traveled to Mexico for a low-cost procedure that later became one of the biggest mistakes of her life. The operation reportedly ended badly. Instead of giving her confidence, it gave her trauma. Most people would have stopped after such an experience. Most people would have walked away. Mary didn't. She convinced herself that one more surgery might fix everything. Then another. And another. Without realizing it, She had stepped onto a path that would become harder and harder to leave behind. At first, each procedure promised hope, a new beginning, a better version of herself. But every operation also brought new risks, new complications, and new emotional weight. The young girl who once wanted acceptance was slowly disappearing, and in her place, a new identity was beginning to take shape. The world would soon know that identity as Mary Magdalene. Millions of people would watch her transformation. Some would admire her confidence. Others would criticize every decision she made. Very few would stop to ask one important question. What kind of pain makes someone believe that changing their body again and again is the only way to feel complete? That question would follow Mary for the rest of her life. And in the next chapter, her search for beauty would become far more dangerous than anyone could have imagined. The dangerous search for beauty. The first surgery was supposed to change Mary's life for the better. Instead, it changed everything in a way she never expected. Most people would have walked away after such a painful experience, accepting that some dreams simply are not worth the risk. But Mary saw things differently. She believed the problem wasn't plastic surgery itself. She believed the problem was that the first surgery had gone wrong. So she made a choice that would shape the rest of her life. She decided to try again. At first, it seemed like a simple decision. One more surgery, one more improvement, one more chance to become the woman she imagined. But that wasn't the whole story. Every new procedure gave her a short moment of happiness. She would look in the mirror and feel excited. And for a little while, she believed she had finally reached her goal. But that feeling never lasted. Soon, she would notice something else she wanted to change. Then another. Then another. The cycle never seemed to end. According to her own interviews, she slowly became trapped in a pattern where every operation created a new problem that needed another operation to fix. It wasn't just about looking different anymore, it became part of her daily life. As the months passed, Mary underwent more cosmetic procedures. She had additional breast surgeries, work done on her face, lip fillers, and other body modifications. Each change pushed her appearance further away from how she had looked as a teenager. To many people online, it was shocking. To Mary, it was becoming normal. Millions of strangers only saw the final photos. Bigger lips, bigger implants, more tattoos, more dramatic transformations. But they didn't see the pain behind those pictures. Recovery often meant swelling, bruises, bandages, sleepless nights, and constant discomfort. While followers admired or criticized the results, Mary was living through the physical cost that cameras rarely showed. Then the complications became more serious. According to her public statements, one of her breast implants later failed, leading to severe medical problems that required more treatment. Instead of slowing down, Mary faced another difficult decision: stop completely or keep going. She chose to continue. Mary became known for taking bigger risks than almost anyone else in the online beauty world, wanting every transformation to be more dramatic than the last. The internet couldn't stop watching. Some people called her fearless. Others believed she was destroying her own body. Every new photo started another debate. Every interview brought new headlines, and the attention and the pressure kept growing. The more famous she became, the more people expected something even more shocking, and that expectation slowly became another burden she had to carry. One of her most talked about decisions was tattooing her eyeballs. It immediately made headlines around the world, and many people couldn't believe someone would take such a dangerous risk. Later, Mary publicly shared that the procedure caused serious complications and nearly damaged her eyesight. It was one of the clearest signs that her search for a new appearance had become extremely dangerous. Even after experiences like this, she continued changing her body. Looking back, Mary admitted that fixing previous surgeries had become exhausting. She spoke about the emotional stress, the financial cost, and the physical pain, explaining that money kept disappearing because one procedure often led to another correction. She described feeling trapped inside an expensive cycle that never seemed to end. That honesty surprised many people. Behind the confidence people saw online was someone who openly admitted she was struggling. Yet the changes continued. Why? That question has never had one simple answer. Some people believed she was addicted to cosmetic surgery. Others believed she was searching for acceptance. Some pointed to the pressure of social media, while others focused on the emotional pain she had spoken about from her younger years. Only Mary truly knew everything she was carrying inside. As her appearance became more extreme, the criticism became even louder. Complete strangers judged her every single day. Some laughed, some insulted her, some treated her like she wasn't a real person. But there were also people who admired her honesty and respected the fact that she never pretended to be someone else. She answered difficult questions, showed recovery photos, and spoke openly about procedures that many influencers would never discuss. Whether people agreed with her choices or not, they couldn't stop talking about her, and that attention slowly transformed her into an internet celebrity. But fame can be dangerous, especially when it depends on constantly shocking the world. Every viral post raised expectations, and every interview created pressure to go even further. Without realizing it, Mary had become trapped between two different lives. One belonged to Denise, the young girl who once wanted love and acceptance, and the other belonged to Mary Magdalene, the internet personality known around the world for pushing beauty beyond every limit. Those two identities were beginning to pull in opposite directions, and the distance between them was growing larger every day. The truth was far more complicated than anyone realized. The world believed they knew Mary because they had seen thousands of photos, but pictures can hide far more than they reveal. In the next chapter, those shocking transformations would turn into something even bigger. Mary wouldn't just become famous. She would become one of the most talked about influencers on the internet, and the attention she had always wanted would come with a price no one saw coming. The fame that changed everything. For years, Mary had been chasing something she believed would finally make her happy. She changed her body, her style, the way she looked, but nothing brought lasting peace. Then something happened that changed her life forever. People started paying attention. At first, only a few people noticed her unusual appearance. Some were curious, some were shocked, others simply couldn't believe what they were seeing. But every new photo brought more comments, and every new video brought more views. Slowly, Mary Magdalene became one of the internet's most talked about influencers. Her name spread across social media faster than she ever imagined. People weren't just looking at her pictures, they were sharing them, talking about them, arguing about them. Some called her brave, others called her reckless. But almost everyone had an opinion, and every opinion pushed her name even further across the internet. Then, everything changed. Large news websites and entertainment pages began writing stories about her. According to publicly available reports, articles about her dramatic body transformations quickly attracted millions of readers. Overnight, Mary was no longer known only by her followers. The entire internet seemed to know who she was. For someone who had spent years searching for attention and acceptance, this felt like a dream. Finally, people were noticing her. Finally, she felt seen. But there was one problem. Most people weren't looking beyond her appearance. Very few asked about the person behind the tattoos or the pain behind the surgeries. Instead, they focused only on what they could see. Mary understood something important. The more shocking her transformation became, the more people clicked, watched, and shared her content. Without realizing it, the internet had rewarded the very thing that was slowly consuming her life. Every new headline brought thousands of new followers, and every viral post brought another wave of attention. Her social media accounts continued to grow, and photos that once received only a few likes now reached hundreds of thousands of people. For many influencers, this would be the definition of success: brand recognition, public attention, financial opportunities, growing influence. But fame has a hidden cost, and Mary was about to discover it. The internet never stops asking for something new. Yesterday's shocking photo quickly becomes today's old news. To stay relevant, creators often feel pressure to go bigger, more dramatic, more extreme, more unforgettable. Mary later spoke openly about how important social media had become in her life. She admitted that she constantly checked who viewed her Instagram stories. Every notification gave her a small feeling of excitement. Every new follower felt like proof that people cared. And every viral post made her believe she was moving in the right direction. But that feeling never lasted. A few hours later, she wanted more. Another post, another headline, another viral moment. It slowly became a cycle that was difficult to escape. The truth was far more complicated. People believed Mary loved attention more than anything, but attention and happiness are not always the same. Someone can be famous and still feel completely alone. Behind the camera, Mary's life looked very different from the glamorous image people saw online. The luxury photos, the expensive surgeries, the confident poses showed only one side of the story. The emotional battles stayed hidden. Still, Mary kept posting. She shared recovery videos, answered questions about cosmetic surgery, and openly discussed procedures that many people would never talk about. Some followers appreciated her honesty. Others believed she was encouraging dangerous beauty standards. The criticism became stronger every year. Strangers judged her every day. Some left cruel comments, some mocked her appearance. Others questioned her mental health without even knowing her personally. Living under constant public attention can be exhausting. Every decision became public. Every mistake became news. Every surgery became another headline. Despite the criticism, Mary refused to hide. She believed everyone had the right to live the way they wanted, and whether people agreed with her choices or not, she continued being herself. That confidence inspired some people, but it also attracted even more attention. Soon, opportunities started appearing. Mary expanded her online presence beyond Instagram. According to her own public comments, platforms like OnlyFans gave her greater control over her content and allowed her to earn money in a way she preferred over her earlier work. For the first time in years, she felt she had some control over her future. She could work for herself, create her own content, build her own brand. But even success couldn't erase the emotional weight she had carried since childhood. The internet saw confidence. Mary often felt pressure. The internet saw glamour. Mary often felt exhausted. The internet saw fame. Mary still searched for peace. Nobody expected what came next. As her audience continued growing, so did the expectations. Followers wanted bigger transformations. The media wanted bigger headlines, and the internet wanted something more shocking every single time. Without realizing it, Mary had become trapped inside the character she had created. The world loved Mary Magdalene, but very few people truly knew Denise. That difference would soon become one of the biggest battles of her life, because behind every viral photo, behind every interview, behind every dramatic transformation, a quiet personal struggle was growing stronger. And in the next chapter, the world would finally begin to see the painful reality hidden behind Mary's famous online image. The woman behind the internet persona. By now, millions of people believed they knew Mary Magdalene. They had seen the shocking photos, the dramatic surgeries, the bold tattoos, the viral headlines. But none of those things told the whole story, because behind the internet's most famous body transformation was a woman fighting battles almost nobody could see. As Mary's online fame continued to grow, people assumed she lived an exciting life filled with luxury, parties, and attention. That couldn't have been further from the truth. According to Mary's own public interviews, the person people saw online was only one part of who she really was. She admitted that Mary Magdalene had become almost like a character, a larger-than-life personality created for social media. Someone who looked fearless, who never cared what other people thought, who always wanted more attention. But when the cameras were turned off, everything changed. Mary explained that she actually enjoyed quiet moments. She preferred staying home, spending time with her pets, and enjoyed painting and living a peaceful life away from the spotlight. It surprised many people. The woman who looked wild online described herself as calm and private in real life. That contrast left many people asking an important question. Which version was the real Mary? The answer may have been both. Like many people on social media, Mary found herself living two different lives. one online, one behind closed doors, and keeping those two worlds separate became harder every year. The pressure of staying relevant never disappeared. Every time people expected something bigger, Mary felt the need to deliver something more shocking. Another surgery, another tattoo, another transformation. The internet always wanted more. But fame came with another hidden cost: constant judgment. Every photo received thousands of comments. Some people praised her confidence, others attacked her appearance, and many strangers believed they understood her life after seeing only a few pictures. Few stopped to ask how those words affected her. Behind every cruel comment was a real person reading them. Mary rarely showed that pain publicly. Instead, she continued posting, continued smiling, continued acting like everything was under control. But according to her own interviews, that wasn't always true. She openly spoke about struggling with depression during different periods of her life, and also discussed how substance abuse had affected her in earlier years. Those experiences left emotional scars that did not disappear overnight. Mary understood that changing her body could not erase painful memories, yet walking away from the lifestyle she had built was easier said than done. By then, cosmetic surgery had become part of her public identity. Her followers expected dramatic updates, news websites expected shocking headlines, and every transformation brought more attention and more pressure. The truth was far more complicated than most people realized. Many people believed Mary was only chasing beauty, but in several interviews, she suggested it was about something much deeper. She wanted control, she wanted freedom, she wanted to decide who she would become instead of letting other people define her. That desire shaped almost every decision she made. Sometimes those decisions brought confidence. Other times, they brought regret. Mary also admitted that correcting previous surgeries had become emotionally and financially exhausting. One procedure often led to another. Recovery became a normal part of life, and pain became familiar. Instead of enjoying the results, she often found herself planning the next correction. It felt like the finish line kept moving farther away. Even when she achieved one goal, another appeared, and that cycle slowly became impossible to escape. Yet despite everything, Mary never completely lost hope. She believed people could change, and that mistakes did not define someone's future. She encouraged others to make informed decisions and understand the risks before following the same path. Those words revealed a different side of her personality. Not the internet celebrity, not the headline, just a woman reflecting on the difficult choices she had made. As time passed, however, many of her followers noticed changes. Some believed she seemed more emotional, others thought she looked tired, and many expressed concern in the comments, hoping she was taking care of herself. No one outside her personal life truly knew what she was experiencing each day. Social media rarely shows the full picture. A single photograph can hide fear, a smile can hide sadness, and confidence can hide loneliness. Mary understood that better than anyone. She had spent years building an image that millions recognized, but inside, she was still searching for something she had wanted since childhood: peace, acceptance, a place where she no longer felt the need to prove herself. Unfortunately, life was about to become even more difficult. The pressure continued growing, the emotional weight became heavier, and in the final months of her life, several public posts would leave followers deeply worried. At the time, many people didn't understand what they were seeing. Looking back, some believe those moments carried warning signs, while others believe they were simply expressions of a woman going through an incredibly difficult period. What is clear is that concern around Mary continued to grow, and in the next chapter, the story would reach its most heartbreaking and emotional turning point. The final days that left everyone heartbroken. For years, Mary Magdalene had survived pain that most people could never imagine. She survived dangerous surgeries, harsh public criticism, addiction, emotional struggles, and years of trying to rebuild her life. Many people believed she would always find a way to keep moving forward, but no one knew how heavy the weight had become. As 2025 came to an end, some of Mary's followers began noticing small changes. Her posts felt different, her words sounded more emotional. Some fans later said she no longer seemed like the confident woman they had followed for years, while others believed she was simply taking a break from the constant pressure of social media. No one knew exactly what she was going through. According to publicly reported information, Mary continued traveling during the final weeks of her life. She visited Thailand, sharing moments from her trip with her followers. On the surface, everything looked normal. Beautiful locations, photos, videos, the same internet personality millions had come to recognize. But sometimes social media only shows a few seconds of someone's life. It cannot show everything happening behind the scenes. Then something happened that immediately caught people's attention. Mary shared a post inspired by The Truman Show, along with an old childhood photo and a caption that many followers later described as deeply emotional. At the time, some people believed it was simply another creative post. Others felt something was wrong. Looking back after her death, many fans returned to that post and wondered if it had carried a deeper meaning. Shortly afterward, Mary also changed her Instagram profile name in a way that surprised many followers. The change quickly spread across social media, and people started asking questions. Was she trying to send a message, or was it simply another shocking internet moment? No one knew for certain, and that uncertainty remains today. Then, everything changed. According to public reports, Mary checked into a hotel in Phuket, Thailand, expected to stay for only one night. Only hours later, a tragedy shocked people around the world. Authorities reported that Mary died after falling from a high floor of the hotel. She was only 33 years old. News of her death spread across social media within hours. Fans couldn't believe it. Many thought the first reports had to be fake. Others waited, hoping there had been some mistake. But as more information became public, the heartbreaking reality became impossible to ignore. Mary Magdalene was gone. Almost immediately, questions began to appear. People wanted answers. How could this happen? Was anyone with her? What really happened during her final hours? According to publicly reported information available at the time, authorities began investigating the incident, and different theories soon appeared online. Some people believed it was an accident. Others shared different opinions. However, no official investigation had confirmed many of the claims circulating on social media, an important distinction, since when someone famous dies, rumors often spread much faster than verified facts. Mary's story was no exception. While people searched for answers, those closest to her were trying to cope with an unimaginable loss. Her family shared emotional messages remembering the person behind the headlines, and her brother's tribute especially touched many people online. Instead of talking about surgeries or internet fame, he remembered Mary's kindness, creativity, humor, and the bond they shared. His words reminded the world that before she became an internet celebrity, she was someone's daughter, someone's sister, someone deeply loved. Fans also filled social media with thousands of messages. Some admitted they had judged her without knowing her story. Others said they wished people had shown more kindness while she was still alive. Many reflected on the emotional pressure that can come with internet fame. Mary's passing started conversations that reached far beyond cosmetic surgery. People discussed mental health, online bullying, body image, the pressure to stay relevant, and the hidden struggles that social media often hides. Her story became more than the story of one influencer. It became a reminder that every viral headline represents a real human being, someone with fears, dreams, pain, and hope. Whether people admired Mary's choices or disagreed with them, one thing became clear after her death. There was far more to her life than extreme body modifications. Behind every headline was a complicated human story filled with struggle, resilience, mistakes, and the desire to be accepted. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson Mary leaves behind. Not that beauty is dangerous, not that fame is always harmful, but that emotional pain cannot always be seen from the outside. Sometimes the people who look the strongest are carrying the heaviest burdens, and sometimes the people the internet talks about the most are the ones who feel the most alone. Mary Magdalene spent years searching for a version of herself that would finally bring peace. Sadly, that search ended far too soon. Her story remains one of the internet's most heartbreaking reminders that compassion matters far more than appearance. If this story moved you, share your thoughts respectfully in the comments. And remember, behind every viral face is a real person with a real life. And sometimes the greatest kindness we can offer is choosing understanding before judgment.